the management of the company, Mr. Manoj Raghavan, CEO and Managing Director at Tata Elxsi, joins us on the show now. Good afternoon, good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Raghavan. First up, let me ask you about the demand environment itself. Your FY22 revenue growth was a solid 34%. Is this kind of growth rate sustainable? And what is your assessment of the demand at this point of time versus what you saw 12 months ago?
Good morning and good morning to your viewers. Yeah, we've had a pretty good, financial year. We ended the financial year upwards of 35% growth in revenues, and more importantly, a consistent quarter-on-quarter growth, right? Between 7 to 8%, right from Q1 up to Q4, right? At this point in time, I see no reason why, I mean, the demand is pretty strong. I don't see any reason why we should be worried about it. We continue to be very bullish, and as long as we execute on our strategies, I believe we are on a good wicket, to show consistent growth.
Demand environment, because this quarter the growth was led by the European region, which grew almost 10% quarter on quarter. Now with the inflationary pressure and the entire geopolitical tension, are you seeing any impact on the client spend and the budget, given the fact that we are seeing inflation across the globe being at decadal high levels?
We really don't see any effect of the geopolitical situation. I mean, we don't have any customers or any business in the Eastern European region and Russia, right? So to that extent, we really don't see a cause for worry or anything. But the good thing about Tata Elxsi is we are, if you look at our regional split, we are split between the US, Europe, and the rest of the world. Similarly, from industry vertical also, we're well diversified, among 3 different industry verticals. So we have sort of, I would say, de-risked our entire both business portfolio as well as our geographical mix. So to that extent, I think, even if there are some issues in a particular region or a particular industry vertical, I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to manage that because of exposure to other regions and other verticals.
Good morning, Mr. Raghavan. I'm just going to digress a little bit from your earnings. This is Nantara Rai, and I wanted to start my interview with you asking you one question, which is, and I'm sure our viewers would like to know, what does the MD and CEO of Tata Elxsi think when he sees the share price? Because the share price, the way it has been moving, the way we've been talking about it this year, it was flirting with 9,000 rupees. Just look at the way it's up year to date. What do you make of that? Reflection of the earnings we're seeing today, or what is it?
No, I don't really, understand this market and why the share price is where it is and so on, right? What we are focused is, ensuring that we deliver consistent results, right? So I would say, whatever you're saying, whether the results, the price going up so high, I would say is a result of the consistent performance quarter on quarter. And at the same time, we are engaging with the various stakeholders, our investors, a lot more, disclosures, a lot more, having those conversations on a regular basis. All of this, I would suggest, gives confidence to our investors that, they are in safe hands.
Okay. So coming back then to the quarterly report card that has been put out, back to the business performance as well. Earlier you did say that you're going to be seeing a growth in the automotive market. Is there any change on that front, just given the way the automotive market is performing, the slowdown that you see from everything from commodity inflation to whether it is supply solution? Will that have a trickling down effect on Tata Elxsi, and what your plans were?
Automotive industry, I think last financial year we did have a dip in the growth and so on, but this financial year, I think the growth has come back, and you would have, if you'd seen a performance over the last 3 quarters, it has been primarily led by the automotive, vertical. So we continue to clock, new deals. We continue to, grow our existing accounts, deeper mining of our existing accounts. Our existing large customers are very bullish about their business. And a lot more, projects coming our way. So I'm not really worried about, if the automotive industry is going to, go down or so. So at least I would say next 2 to 3 quarters, I don't see any of that affecting us.
take regarding the profitability and the margin picture. You've ended Q4 with an EBITDA margin profile of 32.5%. What should we expect for the entire year FY23, given the fact that there is this wage inflation impact which is likely to come into the IT companies' earnings as well?
Yeah, we don't usually give these projections, right? But at the same time, let me tell you that for a majority of our workforce, that is a junior workforce, we've already done the wage hike in January. So the numbers that you see today are after the wage hike.
And talk to us about the embedded product design as well, because that forms bulk of your portfolio. It's reported robust growth quarter on quarter despite a heavy base. Is this growth rate also likely to continue? What are the key trends that you are seeing in this particular service space?
Yeah, the embedded product design business is like the main business of Tata Elxsi, right? And the growth over the last 2 to 3 years that we have seen in the organization is primarily because of the consistent growth in the embedded product design business. Again, we focus on 3 verticals, the transportation business, the media and communication business, and the healthcare vertical. So what we look at it is over a period of 3 years, the business mix would be about 40-40-20, and that's where we are moving towards. Healthcare and medical has been the smallest business for us, but it has been growing very rapidly. I think the last financial year, we grew almost 70%, I think 66 or 67% over the previous year, right? So that will continue to lead our growth. As we discussed, automotive, business, I don't see a slowdown happening, and I'm pretty bullish there also. Media and communication has been a very steady business for us, clocking, very good returns, quarter on quarter. So I think EPD overall will continue to lead the growth for Tata Elxsi.
What about attrition, Mr. Raghavan? We touched upon it very briefly. It's come in at almost 21%. I know the industry at large is grappling with attrition. You even have Elon Musk once taking to Twitter talking about engineers. But what's the game plan, and how is this going to continue to eat into the balance sheet?
Yeah, attrition is a concern. I mean, any IT leader, right? That is a prime, sort of concern for him, on a day-to-day basis, right? So we track, attrition very closely. Yes, attrition has shot up to, slightly about 20%. But I think as compared to a lot of our competition and the larger industry, I think we are still in a better place. I would say, I wouldn't say much better place, but definitely a better place. Yeah, we are doing a number of steps. We talked about, the wage hikes. There are a number of other things that we're doing, including, learning and development opportunity, leadership development, opportunities for our resources. So there are a number of things that we are doing internally to ensure that, employees who work with us, continue to work with us. The challenge for us, has been during this pandemic time. I mean, when majority of our employees have been working from home, so we see that a lot of our employees, if you analyze the attrition that is happening, I would say about 50-60% of the people who are leaving us have joined us in the last 6 or 12 months. So there are people who have joined us virtually and has left us virtually. So that is a main challenge that we are facing. So a lot of infant attrition, so to say, right? But however, many of the long-termers are definitely, continuing with us, and the attrition, at least among the key employees and the long-term employees, that is, much smaller than, the reported attrition. So to that extent, I would say, attrition is under control. However, we really are, on a day-to-day basis watching it and, taking steps to ensure that, we don't get into a bigger mess.
What about the deal pipeline? What is that looking like?
We have the deal pipeline. The demand situation has never been stronger, over the many quarters, right? So I have absolutely no concerns on that front. The sales engine is rocking. We've ramped up our sales engine, over the last 4 quarters, and that's really delivering, results for us. The challenge for us would be to ensure that, we service all the requirements that are coming our way, with the attrition and with the hiring situation, right? So that, if you ask me, demand is not an issue. Supply is definitely an issue, and we need to figure out ways to address that.
Manoj, we let you go on that note. Thank you so much for joining us. So demand is